How are you feeling 3 days out from the race?
I'm good. I'm a little tired. The time change is a little tough, and
Yeah.
Kirsten came in my room at 6 a.m. this morning, so I'm a little out of it.
Yeah.
But excited to race.
You said something on the stage about going into, I wasn't sure if it was your last Boston Marathon appearance or just marathons in general where you felt like you didn't quite belong yet or that sort of thing. Like, was that last Boston or was that still last year?
Maybe I tripped over my words. I look back at last Boston. I think I was a little presumptuous on what I thought I could do. And it was a really humbling experience. The last Boston Marathon kind of made these, honestly, it kind of took like even though it's 2 years ago, it took a big part of my confidence away. The confidence that comes with, NCAA stuff, and it was like, all of a sudden I ran a race where I blew up and I blew up hard. Up to that point, me blowing up in a race, but I started slowing down to 5 flat pace. And so it was one that, in the back of my mind, it had kind of held me back in some races from really pushing. And so the Olympic marathon, I finished pretty well, and I was able to just dig deep at the end. And then the New York marathon, I held back in some of the later miles when I should have pushed. But then my last mile ended up being one of my fastest miles. And it's like, you're running your last mile as one of your fastest miles, and you should, Jeffrey Cameron had a minute on me at 40K, and he only beat me by 10 seconds. It's like, if I am making up that much of a gap and I'm sprinting that hard at the end, then I have more left in the tank. I should have made those moves at miles 20, 21, 22 to move up.
Yeah.
So I just kind of realized that I needed I think last Boston Marathon has been in my mind too much. And so I'm excited to come out here and actually do one where I think I execute better and I race better and I run faster. So.
Yeah, because I'm thinking of that move that Chebet made in New York, and then there was another move right after that that came over the top. Like, do you feel like you were physically ready to respond to those moves? Like, do you need to work on that, or it's more of a mindset
I think that was more of a mindset. I think I got so used, especially in New York, because Chebet made the same move in Boston the last time. So I knew what type of move he makes, and but in New York I was physically ready. We do so much, or we had so many workouts that were so good to prepare me for that, and I kind of felt like a lot of that New York, that first 15 miles felt like a long run. It felt like a little bit faster of a long run, and I mean there was a pack of 20 something guys there, so of course it felt like a long run. We're not dropping most of the field yet, and so it just kind of feeling like a long run, and then all of a sudden, without any notice, it's all of a sudden the pack is split up, and there's a giant line, and all of a sudden I see somebody that's 20 meters ahead of me that I thought was only 5 meters ahead of me 10 seconds ago. So it had to be a mindset shift, and just being ready for that move. I should have been ready for it. I had every reason to be ready for it mentally. I feel like almost any reason to be ready for it physically. You look at the fatigue mile repeats we do, the pickups and long runs I did heading into New York were really fast. So I had a lot of, I was really ready to do something like that, but I think part of it was that confidence.
How about now in terms of, you've been top 6 in a bunch of majors, did well in the Olympics. What's the difference between that and the podium here, you think?
I think I wish it wasn't as big of a difference as it was, to be honest with you. It's big. The people who end up podiuming time and time again are those that eventually win, and that's where I want to get is, I want to be in position to podium in a race like this. And then when I'm in a position and I can continually podium, and I think that's when, you never know if you're in a position to podium, 5 times, you're going to win one of those times. So that's where I want to be. I want to get to be that. I want to get to a point where I'm that type of athlete, where I'm in position to podium at all the majors, in position to podium at the Olympics. What's that going to take? I mean, I don't know. Whether it's a few more years of training, or maybe I'm there now. I'm going to try for it this time.
Monday. Good. Thanks a lot. Good luck.
Thank you.
Is this the fittest you've ever been?
I would hope so. My halves went really well. It's kind of funny because I went into New York Marathon with tons of confidence. My workouts were phenomenal. and my workouts are about the same this go around. But I was like really surprised when New York came that like my workouts had gone so well, and I finished 6th again, and like I was 80 seconds back from the winner. And so I was like, okay, what do I need to like do? And it was like there's nothing I was thinking that I could have done differently. Like leading into New York, like there was stuff I could have done differently in the race. And so this go around, I'm like, well, my confidence was a little lower after New York because of that. But then the halves went really well after my build-ups weren't as well. My build-up for Houston wasn't very good, just because I got, it was 8 weeks after New York, so I had my break week, I had like an easy mileage week, and then I had 2 weeks of like almost nothing other than cross training, and then I raced. So it was only maybe 5 weeks of doing any workouts at all, and maybe less than that. And so like with Houston going well, it's like, well, that fitness carried over from New York, so I know I have that fitness behind me. So I'd like to think I'm the fittest I've ever been, but I mean, that's kind of a lifetime fitness thing, so.
Yeah. How are you assessing risk when it comes to like the moves that you're going to cover, right? Is there like a pace range that you're like, that's too much, or the first half split?
It's so hard on this course to like assess, like, because I mean, that first mile, I don't know how much you drop in that first, like, not even that first mile, the first 1,200 meters, you like fly down the hill. And so it's like, if I say, don't run faster than 440 pace, and then, all of a sudden I'm in the back of the pack and I have to move my way uphill, it's going to be hard. So, I don't know. I think I'm going to just have to go off effort, trust the training and how I've, gotten into it. Because I think 2 years ago in Boston, I thought it felt great, but then it didn't, at the end. But, yeah, we'll see.
How will you measure success? Like, is it podium or bust, or would you be happy with like 4th or 5th?
I'd be happy with 4th or 5th because it'd be like it'd be a step up from what I've been. But it's kind of like the ABC goal. Like the ultimate goal is to win. But like I'd be like, well, how am I going to do that? Well, I gotta be top 3. I gotta be in position for top 3. And then after that, well, it's like, okay, if that doesn't work out, top 5. If that doesn't work out, top 8. And then like if I'm going down the stretch and I'm just struggling, then it's secure a top 10 finish. But that's kind of where it's gonna go. But the main goal is that top 3 position.
Do you think you're ready to win a major right now? Is that realistic?
Maybe not with this field, but I think on the right day. But it might be a little unrealistic. I don't know. It's so hard. It's so hard to like even know who's fit, but I'd love to get in that position.
Separate race plans for you and Clayton with Coach Aston this time?
We haven't talked race plan yet, so I don't know. He likes to keep it the same, but he'll tell us it differently. But I think Boston's just such a difficult course. You don't know what moves are going to be made. I mean, you look at last year's race, and that was so weird. Like I went through and I broke down the last 10 years and like what the winner and like the podium went through in halfway and what they finished in. And the only real pattern I can see is a lot of years, not last year, but a lot of other years, the winner would finish his last half in 63:30. Whether he ran out slow, or they went out fast, they were finishing pretty close to that. So that's one thing I just got to keep in mind is that, I got to be able to average 450 pace through the hills and then the downhill at the end.
What'd you learn from your last time running Boston?
I learned I got to fuel better. I missed the bottle, and I think I like barely drank that a little bit out of my 3rd bottle. So I'm really practiced on fueling, making that a priority, and I think I've done that well throughout all my marathons. Then I learned, some days I got to let my pride be at the door and just run behind people and, not have to take the tangents. I also think, like, if I was in that race now, I think I go with the move again with my fitness now, but I think that was too presumptuous to go with the move then, to be out front in that pack, but I learned a lot from it, so I think, I don't know. A lot that I learned, but I don't know how much of it changed this go around.
How are you interpreting the weather?
Looks like there's a slight headwind. When I checked it 2 days ago, there was a slight cross tailwind, but
dry too, right?
Yeah, I didn't actually see that, but yeah, that sounds great. I love dry weather. but it's perfect temperature if you're running a marathon. I know a lot of people like that 30, 40, 50 degrees, or 30 and 40 degrees, but I'm fine with that 50 degrees. So.
How often are you checking the weather on your phone?
Like once a day.
Okay.
So
That's
more than I should.
That's healthy. I feel like any more than that, maybe you'd be getting obsessive. But I think that's good.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah. Good luck.